Shalom, Yashara Allah. Shalom, Yashara Allah. Call all Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rekaha Kadash. I'm back to you with another straight to the point moment. Early morning hours. And we're gonna deal with this this group of brothers here, down here in Tampa, Florida, who goes by the title Prophets in Babylon. They are a GMS or GMS subscribers, or what GMS will call unofficial brothers. And they subscribe to their teaching, their doctrine, and you'll see in the video they get double honors in every video to GMS. So this is what happens. And in this video, we're gonna go into the detailed wisdom on how we deal with people. This is what happens when you follow a group of men and their doctrine instead of following after Yahweh Shai and the doctrine that's preached in the scriptures. All right, so let's get right into it.
Lined up for one piece of fucking candy, man. That shows you people that got, hey, what's on your neck, brother? What? Hold on, man, real quick. What?
So you can see here, this is a young lad, probably no older than, most likely 17 years old, no older than 17. You can see the young man that's recording here. And this is a group of, these brothers are a bit younger than their GMS counterparts. But again, you got young brothers in every so-called camp, all right? And so we just want to deal with the wisdom here because he's dealing with a young man here, and we'll continue.
You believe in the Bible? Let me ask you this. What you doing out here? You candy? How old you is, brother?
Old enough to get candy?
Old enough to get candy?
Yeah.
All right, well, you know the Lord going to struggle to get candy out here?
Huh?
You know the Lord going to destroy you out here getting candy?
You don't like candy either?
Are you going to die for that candy?
And so you can see that the brother's preaching in a sense of fear or a sense of contention. You know, some preach in contention in the name of Hamashiach. Some have a certain preaching style where it's in gentleness, where Yahweh Shai taught to speak as in love and charity. But again, you have different teaching formats, all that's used for the criteria to try to bring people in. But again, when you're dealing with a certain type of being or person, especially when you're dealing with somebody else's child, you should oftentimes wonder on the side of wisdom that when you're dealing with children, they might not have the full understanding, their parents might have not taught them that. So you'll get a whole different response than you get from a typical adult that has some type of wisdom or some type of decency to speak man to man or to speak within the amongst of a crowd. All right, so let's go get the scriptures, man. Let's go get the scriptures, man. Just dealing with it. Matter of fact, let's go back. Book of Philippians. Yeah. Let's go to the book of Philippians, chapter 1. We'll start at verse 15. We'll read down to 18, man. Because again, when you're out there teaching, you got to have some type of wisdom when you're dealing with certain people. You have to, especially when you're dealing with children and women. You have to have some type of wisdom, man. You just can't preach a certain way. And again, they follow the same format as GMS, the same teaching format, the same doctrine. You know, it's a lot of stuff they do. And these brothers here are not all clean themselves, but let's deal with it, man. Book of Philippians, chapter 1, verse 15. Some indeed preach Hamashiach even of envy and strife, and some also of goodwill. So you got some that teach of envy and of strife, meaning contentious. You know, they're contending. You know, they have an envy. Because they envy the world when Hamashiach has already made the job for us easy. But the scriptures say, even Hamashiach said it himself, if a man choose to remain ignorant, let him remain ignorant. All right? Let me read that again. Some indeed preach Hamashiach even of envy and of strife, and some also of goodwill. Verse 16. The one preached Christ of intention, Hamashiach of contention, not sincerely, supposing to add affliction to my bonds. And this is what you see here in this vid. And you're going to see it. This would be two parts to this vid, man, because I only got so much time. That's why I do a lot of straight to the point moments. All right. You'll see here in this vid that he's adding affliction, adding fault to the Most High God, but bringing shame upon the name of Hamashiach, man. And you can see the young lad. He's just being fun. He being a kid. He got a child like mine. He's probably 17. I know he's not 18 years old, but he's probably in the age range of 17, 15, 16, 17 years old, but got the mindset of a 10-year-old. Here you can see the two young ladies as probably his sisters or siblings or relatives, and they're laughing. You know, they joking. They kids. You know, they don't have a full understanding of the world, what they think they're doing, that they doing the right thing because they've been taught these things. So there's a certain way you must reach them, and obviously, I wouldn't, in that particular moment, most brothers wouldn't even deal with children. They won't deal with unless they talking to the parents. All right, but let's continue. Now you see the demeanor of the young lady's face had already changed. And the brother still trying to reach and teach, forcefully teaching of contention. Let's go back, man. Pretty much done. The young lad and his sisters or his siblings are pretty much done. You can tell. So in the spirit of wisdom, matter of fact, let me just get that, man. Proverbs 4 and 7. When you're reading the scriptures and not following after men, Proverbs 4 and 7. Beautiful, beautiful these scriptures are, man. The book of Proverbs, chapter 4, verse 7. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and with all that getting, get understanding. Exalt her, and she shall promote thee. So we shouldn't be giving double honors or exalting men, but we should be exalting the wisdom of the Most High God. And she shall promote thee. You'll see it in the teachings and how you deal with men, women, and children when you're on these highways. She shall bring thee to honor when thou doest embrace her. And in this video, towards the end, you'll see there was no honor in their teaching. There was no honor amongst them. And so it did get escalated. Luckily enough, the Most High spared them. But it was a warning sign. All right? It was a warning to these young brothers here that are out there teaching. And again, it's just a basic observation because these brothers ain't going to take no correction. Their elders are GMS. They'll probably make a response video, which I can care less, but you can see here, this is what happens when you fall out the men and their doctrine, and you try to propagate and make yourself to be seen of the eyes of men and not to be wise and be seen of the eyes of the Most High God, man. All right? Go back to Philippians chapter 1, verse 15, man. We got to read that again, man. Teaching and contention. The book of Philippians chapter 1, verse 15. Some indeed preach Hamashiach, even of envy and strife, and some also of goodwill. Verse 16. The one preach Hamashiach of contention, not sincerely, supposing to add affliction to my bond. You just adding on, man. Adding affliction onto the word Hamashiach, man, that was given unto him by Yahweh to be an example unto us how we should deal and how we should live in these latter days, man. All right, let's go back to the vid.
I know you eat candy. Yeah. Don't do all that extra. You know you eat some candy.
My people is foolish. They have not known me. They are Saudis' children. They have none understanding.
And he could just end it there.
Two-third niggas, man.
But this is what happened. In his anger, you see, he's starting to get emotional. He lost his temper. 2/3 niggas. You don't know later down the road, these young lads might come in just better you just showing some type of decorum. You two brothers that lead over these other group of young men. And at this moment, I'm not even surprised it's you two, and this is what's the outcome of you two leading. All right? Some of us are not meant to lead. Some of us are meant to just follow for a little while and then learn how to lead. You learn this from, you know, if you're coming out of wherever you played on any type of sports team or anything like that, you first learn how to lead. And some of us are natural born leaders. You know, we know how to deal with people. We have a built-in wisdom that the Most High God has given us. And some of us don't have it. We have to learn it. In this instance, these brothers have to learn that because you can clearly tell that they're not used to dealing. And this ain't the only video I watched them brothers make mistakes in their midst of their teaching and do things that's causing affliction and then bring more attention than needed. But you'll see it towards the end of it. Like I said, this will be a 2-part vid, man. Let's continue. This brother Luke getting emotion. This brother getting emotion. Leading these young men in the same style mindset because they're falling after another group of men. And look, throwing up curses, trying to curse people after you just made your religion vain. Matter of fact, let's go get that, man. Let's go get that proverb. Was it Proverbs 25:28? I got it pulled up. Let's go get it, man. The book of Proverbs, chapter 25. You know, I start up a verse, man. We'll start up at verse 26. A righteous man falling down before the wicked is as a troubled fountain and corrupt spring. It is no good to eat much honey. So for men to search their own glory is not glory. And these are men that push out videos. And like I said, this is not the only video I watched them where they've done something or said something that was not necessarily need to be said, but without that type of wisdom of studying in the scriptures, this is what you get, right? Verse 27, it is not good to eat much honey. So for men to search their own glory is not glory. And these are men that are searching their own glory, trying to be part of a camp, a bigger body of brothers, so they can feel more accepted. And this is why you see so many GMS pop-up. This is why I call GMS pop-up unofficial brothers. They pop up out of nowhere. They subscribe to their doctrine and teaching, and then they try to emulate what they see. And then what happens is they fall in that same category of just not knowing what they're doing. Verse 28, he that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down without walls. And you can see that their city was constantly falling. What I mean by that, their mind was falling. So they started to get emotional. They want to throw up curses. There was no need for that. You could just let them walk, man. Let me go get that. What Hamashiach said. The example. When you read, you see the examples on how we should walk and talk, man. All right. And this is the example that he gave us, man. All right, book of Revelations, chapter 22, verse 11. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still. And he which is filthy, let him be filthy still. And he that is righteous, let him be righteous still. And he that is holy, let him be holy still. And this is all Hamashiach is saying. Look, I've made the work easy. That's why he said, take upon my yoke for my burden. Take upon my yoke for my yoke. My yoke is light, roughly paraphrasing. My burden is light, my yoke is easy. But you'll see brothers trying to do things within their own wisdom, trying to puff themselves up to be seen of men, and continue to teach under a false pretense of teaching Hamashiach in contention, man. What is it? My burden is easy, my yoke is light. It's like you. So we're gonna get back to the vid. Like I said, this will be a 2-part vid. Psalms chapter 34, verse 13. Here we go. Keep the tongue from evil and thy lips from speaking guile. And so here we go. You see this in the Old Testament, but again, teaching without wisdom, man. They could have refrained from even doing that and just let these youngins go. Man. Now you can see that these young lads are not built for this type of discussion. That's why she threw the candy. But it wasn't even necessary to keep pushing it. And you can see him, he stepped on, oh, she got demons on him. You could have just been quiet, let it go, man. And kept on teaching. But instead, getting emotion, getting wrapped up in those emotions, which is an effeminate trait, and this is the outcome of it. And you hear him, they done already told him, he young man and yelled out, shut the fuck up. Though then you see these so-called wannabe elders that teach Hamashiach in contention, and then he blurts out, act bad, bitch. This is them. Their group, their fake camp. And this is what happens when you teach Hamashiach in contention instead of using the wisdom of scripture, just teaching, just gathering those who hear. The scriptures say, even Hamashiach said himself in scripture, my sheep hear my voice. All right. These young lads here may or may not be his sheep, but the point again is we don't supposed to teach Hamashiach in contention, but we're supposed to teach in wisdom and sincerity, man. Let's continue. Young men, and this is what you got: kids and adult male, and then you had the older one who has some sense to break it up and say stop. Even the cameraman got to fall. I mean, this is ridiculous, man. Then he had the decency to put the camera down so you wouldn't see everything, to protect their own so-called integrity, which there is no integrity, as we just read. Look, and this is what you call becoming of a so-called camp. This is what happened when you teach Hamashiach in contention, man. And they still throwing up curses in their emotional anger. Look at this, man. And this, I mean, I would say it in my own wisdom. You brothers shouldn't be out there teaching, man. You need a little bit more time to develop and grow spiritually before you can go back out there teaching. And I know this personally because I've had to deal with some, I've dealt with you brothers before, and it's I can't say it's a surprise, but I can say this: it's not necessary to even go this far when you're dealing with other people's children. And this will be a 2-part vid, and this is just showing the lack thereof when it comes to teaching. So let's go back to the scriptures, and then I'll end this, man. The book of Philippians, chapter 1, verse 16. The one preached Hamashiach of contention, not sincerely, supposed to add affliction to my bonds. Verse 17. But the other of love, knowing that I am set for the defense of the gospel. So we already have the defense within the scriptures, the words, so we don't have to use the emotion on how to deal with people who don't agree. Verse 18. What then? Notwithstanding every way, whether in pretense or in truth, Hamashiach is preached, and I therein do rejoice, yea, will rejoice. So again, like I said, both ways will be teach, but he still rejoice. But this is not the way he gave us the example on how we should teach. All right, we'll be coming back with a part 2. And with that, I want to give all praise to Kahala Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rekah Kadash, and death to America. Shalom.